Hey, Stephanie, would you do me a favor? Can you get me two of my Alpha Brain things in the vitamin thing? I guess I should have taken that like an hour ago. Hey, Nick. That real funny. She's so funny. What's up, Phil? Hello, Miss White. Hey, Sean.
Not really working, right?
Thanks. Married to a wise ass. Real funny woman. I feel smarter already. Hey, Lynn. Hey, Bridget. How's it going? Hey, Bob. Greg, how are you, buddy? Good talk today, pal. There's my pal, Sue. Hey, Kaylee. We'll give people a minute to get on here. I think it was probably a minute or two early. I'm always early for everything. Hello, Rob. I wore your shirt proudly. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. Hey, Doc, how are you, buddy? Doc, I need to come out and do some tracking with you. I'm ready for the fall. Hey, Matt. Hello, Marion. Unfortunately, I think this live tonight will probably upset a lot of people, piss a lot of people off, make them mad at me, including some of my friends. That's not my intention, but to be honest, everything I've always done since I started putting stuff out has always been geared towards helping the everyday dog owner with their pet. That's it. That's my main concern. And so I'm always going to be honest. And if it comes down if it comes down between helping large masses of people with their problems, giving them true information, or hurting my friends' profits, I'm always going to go on the dog side. I'm always going to choose the dog over the people. I'm just going to do that, Sue, I'm so proud of everything you've done, Sue. You could see the happiness in your posts, and I got your questions, and I'll give you a call and we'll go over that stuff. Hey, Anna, me too. I'm looking forward to it. I love North Carolina. So many great people that I've met out there with these seminars in North Carolina, Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that, buddy. That means the world. That means the world. And believe me, I'm still trying to get better daily. That's my job till the day I die. Hello, Malia. To the day I die, it's my job to try to keep getting better so you could help more people. It's that simple, and like I was just talking to Mr. Anchetta about offline, that's what keeps me going. Like, I know so little. There you go, Courtney. Absolutely. Make that circle smaller. Hey, Pam. Hello, Dusty. All right. Give me a second here. I got to tell you, I'm a little proud of myself. I didn't feel like I didn't know what I wanted for dinner tonight. So I just put together a bunch of watermelon and different grapes and olives. And I got some really, really good cheese, I cut up, and some peppers, and man, it was good. But I just about ate the whole damn thing. I meant to keep the board here on the table next to me so I could snack through the night, and never made it here. David, there's my friend in Australia. How are you, sir? Okay, so let's get this going now. Whew. Where do I even start? Hey, Connie, thank you. Love my shirt. Allison, are there any openings for the seminar? I think there's audit spots open, Allison, if I'm not mistaken. Vic, the Shepherd Mal mix. I met them yesterday. We went to the dog park, and man, his owner and that dog, they killed it yesterday. They absolutely killed it. I was so proud of them. Like, it was phenomenal what you can do over 3 private lessons when the owners take the information and go home and implement it. It's amazing, absolutely amazing what could be accomplished in that short period of time. Really good stuff. I'm not sure why all you guys are on here on a Friday. I thought I was the only one. Hey, Oscar. Me and my wife, we were just making fun of ourselves. She was laughing. She called us, we're the ultimate losers. It's Friday night. We were at Lowe's and we're in the aisle dancing in Lowe's because Kool and the Gang was playing on the radio. We just broke out into dance, had a good time. What's up, Nick? Oh, yeah, it is Saturday. Damn it. Thanks, Bridget. No one else corrected me. I'm retired. I don't know what day it is. Okay, let's get started. I don't even know how to start this, right? But I think it's really important, right? So obviously you guys saw the subject is about training tools and how Miss Janine, what are you doing on here? Look, what are you doing on social media? That's a nice surprise there, right? Very nice. What do you think? Am I representing? Hopefully I don't drink this whole bottle of wine and tear into the second one. All right, so let's talk about it because this is something that's very, very important to me, right? And I've been very blessed that over the last several years, I've been able to travel all over the country and parts of the world too, and meet hundreds and hundreds of people, hundreds of dog trainers, hundreds of dog owners. And that's a tremendous education for me. Like, it's been an incredible education because you see what's really going on out there in the dog world outside of just the bullshit you see on the social media, right? It's gotten so bad. You're doing good, Miss Janine. Don't you worry about it. It's gotten so bad because of the social media thing that, and there's trainers that I like a lot out there, but when you see what they're doing online, unfortunately, so many young trainers have put all their efforts into getting bigger and not better. 27 years into this game, 27 years I've been doing this. And to this day, I am a student every single day and busting my ass. What do I need to do to get better? Because just like everyone, I have plenty of weaknesses that I have to improve on. So I could provide the best information and help to the people out there that trust me all over the world. And that's a big burden sometimes because people have a lot of expectations when I show up and we do these seminars and everything. And that could be very, very nerve-wracking because you never want to let people down. But the one thing that's really obvious is because of the money that could be made in this industry, and it's easy money, and people are doing very, very well doing this. Everything is turned into a quick fix. And the education part on the animal and the education part, especially on the human end of the leash, that dog owner, is almost non-existent for many, many trainers, many, many trainers. So people that work with me know that I don't care. You could be the best trainer on the planet. You can keep a dog for 2 months, 3 months and do wonders with it. It doesn't matter. It's temporary. If you can't spend a lot of time with the owners and truly educate them so they understand what they have, they understand what the animal is, how the animal sees things, how they operate, how they function, how the dog sees things through their eyes, not the human eyes, right? Until you can get that across to people so they could change their bad habits and replace them with good habits, then all this bullshit we do is temporary. It's temporary. It's not real. It's a facade. And the expectations of what people expect from dog trainers are so damn low. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful, right? So we're going to talk about training tools and the misuse of them and how they've given people a false sense of security. And listen, training tools are great. We live in an age today where technology with everything is, of course, greater than it's ever been. And I'm not against training tools. I use them, of course. Now, someone's going to say, this is the guy who wrote a book on e-collars. Yeah, absolutely. Very successful book that has changed the lives of tens and tens of thousands of people. But the whole premise of that book and the way I wrote it was that people would stop destroying their animals, and there's still people doing it, and that they would understand very quickly how to get to a point where you don't need tools. Because here's the thing, guys, which people are really failing to recognize. If you can't take your dog out in public without a leash, without a collar, without an e-collar, without something, your dog's not trained. It's not trained. Okay? And so you have people paying thousands and thousands of dollars to these dog trainers. I meet them every single week. I meet them by the hundreds. They spend thousands of dollars. I've met trainers and owners that have dealt with problems for 8 and 9 years. No bullshit. Spent tens of thousands of dollars, no help. And we're changing these people over a weekend. And a seminar is not an ideal place to train a dog, right? Why are we able to do that? Because we focus on truly educating the dog, teaching the dog, right? A very smart man told me years ago, and I never forgot it. First, we have to show the dog what we want. Then we have to teach the dog how to do it. Then we need to motivate the dog to do it, right? What's in his best interest. And then when the dog truly knows it, then you make the dog do it when he doesn't want to do it. Those are very, very true words. But today, the first thing that many people do is the e-collar or whatever tool you use goes on day one, and we're pressing away. It's pressure, pressure, pressure. And it's awful. And it's absolutely awful. And I'm seeing dogs for years now that are just destroyed or worse than they were before. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. I put out a video a couple years ago, and it's still on YouTube. And I think the name of the video was Why I Don't Use Prong Collars. And I put that out because I didn't use prong collars. But even though in the video I said prong collar is a great tool when used properly, it's a great tool. Nothing wrong with it. I just don't use them. I stress that. Nothing wrong with it. I just don't use them. And the reason is, if you're going to pay $3, $4, $5 to a dog trainer and they can't get your dog to walk nice with just a leash and a flat collar, you threw your money away. They're not worth a shit. They're not worth a shit. Okay? Because if they need to put a prong collar on your dog and just force it into position, they're telling you right there, I have no skill. I have no ability, but I'm still going to charge you $5,000. And that goes on every single day. So that was my premise of that video. Well, it didn't take long before I got the hateful emails and phone calls from dog trainers. One in particular stuck out. She was the first one, lashed out and was furious. I mean, read me the riot act. Who the F do you think you are? And I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? Did you watch the whole video? I didn't say I'm anti-prong collar. I said I don't use them. I said they're a great tool. I just don't. It didn't matter because now her clients are calling her saying, why do we use prong collars if Larry Krohn doesn't use prong collars? And that infuriated her. And so my response to her, more or less, was if her clients have more faith in me and she's the one training the dog and they're paying her, that's not a me issue. That's a you issue. That's your problem. And if you can't get by without that prong collar, being a professional dog trainer, if your clients don't want to use it, again, you have to look yourself in the mirror and be very, very honest about your ability and your skills. And I'll never back away from that, right? Never back away from that. So that's the first time. So, and I didn't use prong collars ever. And then one day I was having a conversation with someone I respect very much in this industry. One of the people I respect most, right? And we're just having a good conversation. And he said to me, he said, you know, he goes, with all the problems all over the world with the e-collar, he said, you've done a beautiful job changing the perception for many all over the world. And I said, well, I don't know about that. You know, I've tried, but I don't know. He said, no, you did. You did. He said, you've changed the perception for many people and you've shown it. And then it was one little line he said that really kicked me in the willy. right down by my knee. He said, now imagine if you did that with pinch collars. And I was like, okay, I get it. So I've tried to use them more, and I do use them, but I also show people how to use them properly, right? So the issue is there's a huge perception of so many trainers in this industry that they're doing a good job. And when the average dog owner, and that's who I'm always focused on, right? When the average dog owner doesn't know what they're looking at, and you have a dog and it's walking down the sidewalk with you, and many times doesn't even have a leash, but the trainer or the owner has the e-collar remote in the hand right here, they're thinking that dog is trained, right? In reality, all you're doing is walking around with a mobile underground fence, and that dog is scared to death to leave the side of that human being, because right from day one, the e-collar went on, and the second that dog veered out of the way, they got their ass fried. It's that simple. And within a few repetitions, they're scared to death and they never move. But the average human can't look at the dog and see, look, that dog is crushed. He's got no life left in him, right? He's got nothing. That's an easy sell for the trainer. Now, if you had to get the dog to a certain level of true obedience without the use of an e-collar and a prong collar, both phenomenal tools, right? I've spent the last 15, 16, 17 years screaming from the mountaintops about the e-collar, doing my best. But if you can't train a dog with the leash and a flat collar, stay the fuck away from an e-collar and a prong collar. You have no business going near either. You got people that don't know how to teach a dog how to bite, calling themselves aggression experts. You got all these aggression experts walking around with an e-collar in their hand, and when the dog shows the behavior you don't want, lighten them up. And they think they're doing something. And we see hundreds of these dogs every year just through our seminars. We see them. There's hundreds of witnesses. We have over 100 people at most of our seminars. There's witnesses to this. They see it. I've been doing seminars for a while. Me, Joel, and Jay have been doing them about 2 years now. You know how many times we put an e-collar on a dog? Well, Jay doesn't use e-collars, and neither does Joel really, right? You know how many times I put an e-collar on a dog to fix a problem at a seminar? Zero. And usually they never see an e-collar at the seminar unless they have specific questions and needs. Like the last seminar, big seminar. One girl was having an issue with her e-collar. I said, let's see what you're doing. Let's change some things up. That was the extent of it, right? And for me, it's always, let's go easier, take shit down. For all these other people that I'm referring to, it's let's go harder. Because when you have no knowledge, skill, and ability, it's very easy to go harder, to be louder, to be more macho. Right? It's the little dick syndrome. You're very uncomfortable with your ability, so let's just be a motherfucker. Show the dog who's boss, you know? And something has to change there. I give you a harmless example, right? This happens every seminar. Recent seminar, someone was struggling with their dog really bad, just wild, out of control walking. Someone gave them a tool, and it was totally harmless. Like the meaning and the intent behind it was good. And I don't say anything. I don't interrupt. If other trainers speak up and try to help people, I don't say, hey, this is my seminar, you can't do that. No, because everyone there is tight. We get along, and it's open. I let people speak their mind and do what they want, right? Well, someone gave this tool, and it was an instant change. And that individual was, oh my God, this is incredible. I didn't say nothing. But in my head, I'm thinking, this immediately stops the human from learning and from trying, and completely eliminates the dog from learning and being trained. 100%. But I didn't say anything, right? But it was the tool providing the instant result. And then just yesterday, this awesome individual sent me some videos to go over, and he said what I needed him to figure out on his own. He said, to more or less, I was so happy this thing worked so fast and he was doing so good on it. But then I realized someone came to my house and I didn't have it on, and he jumped all over him and nothing worked. He didn't listen to me. And then I realized I'm not teaching the dog anything with that. And I said, bingo, now we could talk. Now we could talk. But I'm going to always let people figure that out on their own. Because listen, I have a lot of friends that sell things that they've created or altered and come up with, or they get, lots of commission for things they sell. And sometimes they get real pissed at me. But I really don't give a fuck, because I'm always going to err on the side of the dog, always, and the human, always. My goal is to educate the human. I'm going to teach your dog how to learn. It's going to know how to learn. And then I'm going to give your dog a fantastic, very solid foundation with a leash and a flat collar, right? And then it's my job to teach you well enough that if you get another dog either 6 months from now or 6 years from now, you don't have to call me or any other trainer. That's always my goal. No matter what tool we're using, the end goal is that your dog responds to you in any situation naked, meaning no tools. How many people actually tried to get there, even tried to get there, right? So if you had someone that tried to make that effort, but maybe they don't have the experience and they're trying their best and they get close, right? Dog does real well in most situations. They could have the dog in any situation, but they have to have that e-collar on there just in case. Fantastic. That's great. You're doing something. You're doing something, right? You're absolutely doing something. But no one's teaching anything. So it really bothers me when I'm working with a trainer, and maybe not even a brand new trainer, someone that's been training 5, 10, 15 years. I've talked to people, and I'll talk to them, and anyone who knows me knows I don't push my stuff. I don't say, hey, follow my videos, do this. No, I always point them in the direction of others that I think provide tremendous value, right? But when I ask someone who's training for 10 years, 12 years, and they don't know who Bart Ballone is, they don't know who Michael Ellis is, Ivan Balabanov, they don't know who Bill Keeler is, they don't know what Keeler method of dog training is, they don't know who Conrad Most is, right? They don't know who Bill Bailey is. Who the fuck are you learning from? That's what I don't understand. Where are you getting your education? Where? Jeff Gellman? The scary thing is, yeah, that's the answer for a lot of them. That's the answer for a lot of them. Think about how scary that is. Think about how scary that is. That means you have zero knowledge when it comes to dog training, and you've been training 10, 15 years. You don't study any of the greats and try to learn from any of the greats out there. How is that possible? How is that possible? Let me tell you something. Anyone who's been to my seminars or this ones I do with Jay and Jill, you've seen dogs. You've seen dogs that could not be brought in the room. Couldn't be brought in the room. So far gone. Some of them, one of them I'm thinking of, 9 years. Dozens of trainers, every method under the sun could not be stopped from wanting to kill dogs. A pit bull. Okay, we're going to get through this weekend. And we're going to do some different shit. And we're not going to go harder. We're going to take all the force away. There's going to be no e-collars. We're going to show the dog something different that he's never seen before. And we're going to connect with that animal in a way to where the dog goes, wait a second, this kind of makes sense now, right? Every single one. This last one, my buddy Joel comes to me and says, hey, there's this guy, he wasn't really supposed to be at the seminar, but someone traded their spot that couldn't come work with Joel. He said, he's here with the Rottweiler, big Rottweiler. He's got a mask on. It's very dog aggressive. He said, the dog just went after me. He said, do you want to work with him? I said, absolutely. Let's do this. So we're doing our nighttime training. That's another thing, guys. When we do our seminars, we're not doing 6 hours a day. We're starting at 8:30, which means everyone's in there usually by 7:30. Most people break for lunch. I never get to take a lunch. Jay never gets to take a lunch. Joel never gets to take a lunch because we're helping someone at lunchtime or multiple people. We break for dinner. When we come back from dinner, we're training to minimum 10, 11 o'clock at night. There's been times 1 in the morning. There was one time 3 in the morning. We're training dogs. So we're working. So this young man comes in with this Rottweiler. Gorgeous animal. Gorgeous. But he's serious. And he wants to get him a dog, right? He wants to kill a dog. That's what he wants. So I said, okay, bring your dog in. Let's see what you got. And so as soon as he comes in, super nice guy, very, very, very good guy, doing his best, right? But he hasn't been given the tools. It's not his fault. He's trying his best. So for over 2 years now, that's how old the dog is. That's what he's been struggling with. You can't live like that. And then when you have a Rottweiler or a Pit Bull, everything is escalated, right? Now you got to worry. You have more responsibility than the average person because of the stereotype towards the breeds. So he comes in with this dog, and yeah, his dog wants to get to everything, but I'm watching him. I'm not watching the dog. I'm watching the owner, to which he probably gave between 40 and 50 commands, a lot of different physical gestures, a lot of different noises. And I stopped him. I said, okay, let's stop here. Let's take a break. And I said, you literally gave the dog 50 commands. You're doing a lot of hand gestures. You're making a lot of noises. I said, has any of that ever worked? He said, no. I said, then why are you still doing it? It's actually hurting you at this point, right? Because the dog doesn't even know he exists. He may at home love him to death, but out in public, forget it. So I said, we're going to change things up here a little bit for you now, okay? I'm going to show you something very different. We're going to take our time, but we're going to go easy on the dog. It's not about that. It's not about that. We're going to go very easy on the dog. So we set the dog up. I'm helping him on one side. He's on the other. I'm not going to go into full details because that's something I don't share. The people there know what I'm talking about. The people who train with me know what I'm talking about. As soon as the first dog comes within vicinity, he explodes, right? I instruct him what to do. We're working on it. We're getting through it, whatever. Another dog comes out, dog explodes, right? Each time it was a little easier to control him, but the dog's struggling. He wants to get a dog. After about 10 minutes, once we got the dog semi under control, the dog ended on a decent note. I said, go put the dog back in the car, put him in his crate and come back in. Let's give him 30 minutes. So when we were done, I didn't keep the dog there with all the other dogs. Now this dog needs a break. He needs to relax and get his marbles about him and just chill out and think about everything that's going on and just de-escalate, right? 30 minutes later, he brings him back in. We go through the whole thing again. He's getting a little better. He's better than the first time, but it's still there. Again, put him back in the car 30 minutes. The last time we took this dog out, and he dictated that it was the last time. The dog did, and I'll tell you why. We started the process, and the dog was much better. Little bit of stress, but much better. And then we upped the ante because we're there. And seminars aren't the best place to do this, but you're there, so we're going to push it. And we bring a dog pretty much right to his face, and he explodes a little bit. We go through our thing, and he's just sitting there. We do it one more time, and a dog gets right in his face. And at that moment, he looked up at the owner, and I said, now praise that dog. Let him know that's what you want. And he did that, right? And the dog was visibly happy. But here's the thing. Now we start bringing more dogs around, and the dog was fine. He didn't react. He didn't move. He didn't try to kill anything. He was actually very stoic and relaxing. So you would think. But I said to everyone in that area, I said, you guys smell that? And they're like, oh my God, yeah. The dog released his anal glands. What does that tell you? Right? So that dog is always under so much stress. And when he sees a dog, it comes out the front. And what happens when a big, scary Rottweiler explodes and that aggression comes out the front? Dad either runs the other way with the Rottweiler, rewarding him, taking him away from the thing that's stressing him out, or anyone in their right mind that sees that dog trying to get him turns around and goes the other way. The Rottweiler wins and gets self-rewarded constantly. But now when we took that away from him and we showed him that doesn't work anymore, the stress came out the back end, right? He was very nervous, very stressed, and it came out that way. But he's settling down. Once we did a few more things and he did beautiful, this was the beautiful moment. This is where people just lost their mind. And like you saw some tears there. He did so well. I said, now all I want you to do is reach out, but I need you to connect emotionally with this dog in a very mellow way. I need you to connect. Don't bullshit him. Don't lie to the fucking dog. Just give him a little pat and say, good job, buddy. That dog was looking straight ahead. When he did that, that dog melted and came up on him and was like a puppy. What he's saying, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for noticing, Dad. Thank you for doing something different. Thank you for not choking me and hammering me and you know what trainer did what to this dog, trying to force him to stop. But if you send him to 100 trainers, 99 of them are going to put him on the e-collar, and when he shows the aggression, it's going to get cranked up and they're on the button. Do you think that's ever going to stop that freaking dog? Never. Hey, buddy. Never. And that's what everyone continues to do. And then they make the e-collar the villain all over the world when there is no tool that's the villain, but there's a lot of scumbags out there that are villains, right? Or they put the choke chain on and they're choking the dog. They put the slip lead on and they're choking the dog. And listen, not saying there's never time to do any of this stuff. I have yet to meet that dog in all these years that their problems were fixed because they lit him up with an e-collar. Haven't met it. I have not met that dog yet. That moment was so important for everyone to see when that dog let him know, this is fantastic. Thank you. Hey, buddy. That's important. That's important, right? I'm doing a police seminar. I'm with the hardest working man in dog training, right? Derek Kraus. And dog after dog, we're seeing dogs that don't out. Every dog outed very fast, but what did I have to do? I had to take the e-collar down because e-collar cranked on 127, button down, dog bites harder. You have to understand that the dog's going to bite harder. Harder e-collar pops, prong collar pops, the dog bites harder. I take the dog, 5 minutes of working him the way I do with the e-collar. Now I say, okay, when I tell you to out the dog, out the dog. When I tell you to give him the bite, you say he's not going to out. So, well, let's just see. Not one time did the dog not out, removing the e-collar. Now, this was interesting, and Derek could vouch for this. Now, the next dog's coming out, and people are literally parting the chairs, getting up and moving like Moses was coming through the Red fucking Sea, right? And I said, what the hell's going on here? They said, this dog's bad. Like, he's not going to out. And Derek said, yeah, they work 6 weeks with him in the summertime. He won't out. And he's a big, tough dog who wants to kill other dogs. So everyone's got to get out of the way. It's okay. All right, no problem. Let's see what we got. I said, do your thing, give him the bite. And they did, and they tried to get him to out. No, they're right. He's not outing. I said, okay, take the dog, give me your remote. I turned it way down, and I gave the instructions. I handled the remote. This is what you're going to do. I want you to go that way. When I tell you to, I just want you to back up, call the dog to you, all this little bullshit, right? We spent probably 10 minutes doing that. 10 minutes. And then I said, now I want you to give the dog the bite when I tell you to, and then I want you to give him the out. Again, the dog don't out. No, let's see. First time the dog outed. We take it off 127, bump it all the way down towards the bottom. The dog outed every time. Every time. Why? Am I the world's greatest trainer? No. I might have looked like it at that moment, but I'm not. But I'm educated. That's the difference. I'm educated, and I'm always looking at the animal. What does this animal need? What does this human need, right? Now, the next thing, he wants to kill dogs, right? There was one dog he was keying in on. Now, police canines, that's macho shit, right? Real macho shit. We all see it. And there were some great people there, too. Some very, very great people. I don't know why, especially the female canine officers, they're always kick-ass, man. They're always just the best of the best. So now he's keying in on this one dog. So I have the handler walk towards that dog on the long line and do the same thing. When I tell you, back up, call the dog. And they're hesitant. I can't go near that dog. Trust me, you can go near that dog because I already know how the dog's going to respond. So we do that a couple of times, and the dog's coming away from the dog and recalling every time. I say, now I want you to go all the way to that dog. They're hesitant. Go to the dog. And they do. And they stop. Do you know what the big bad shepherd did? He got behind his handler. I said, what is your dog telling you? What's he telling you? And they're just looking. And I know they're disappointed. I said, your dog's not a badass. He's a pussy. He's a pussy. But when he acts like a tough guy, everyone parts the Red Sea for him, right? You know how many guys walk around out there with the shaved heads, covered in tattoos, looking all big and bad and tough? Most men can't fight their way out of the paper bag. Trust me, it's comical. That's what dogs do. It's a farce. But the e-collar was so overused and abused there. And all the time with all of these dogs. How is it that you owe a multi-million-dollar training facility? You're making 7 figures a year training pet dogs, and you spend 0 of your time working with working dog people, sport dog people, where the best talent is. Are you serious about this craft, this art? No, you're not. I've been screaming that shit for years. If you're a pet dog trainer, go work with working dog people. You're going to get better. What changed my life in training? I talk about it all the time. There was one day I was damn good at fixing problems with dogs. But guess what? I trained with a leash and a flat collar. No food, no e-collars. Imagine that. For a long time, for years. People used to see Bruno. Hey, how'd you train that dog? What did you use? Is that an e-collar? You know, I trained Bruno, a leash, a flat collar, and walked him every day. That was all of our training. That was everything. Right? That was everything. But the day that changed my life, and I'll say it again because it's important that people get it. I had a problem with a dog that wasn't created by me. I got this dog at 7 months old, and I drove 14 hours to go work with Bart Ballonis, his first time coming back to the States in Virginia. I drove all the way there. Let's see what he could do, right? I have people that will call from Nashville and find out I'm an hour away and that's too far. You don't want to fix your dog then. You want something that's convenient, go ahead, but you don't want to fix your dog. You're going to be screwed. You're going to be screwed, right? That day, that weekend changed everything for me. Because for one, I saw dogs that I didn't know existed in the real world. Seriously. Didn't know existed. With more intensity and more drive that I knew existed in the real world. And I watched Bart do shit with these dogs that blew my fucking mind. And from that day on, I was obsessed. All kinds of big name people were there. It was by far the best seminar in the history of seminars, as far as I'm concerned, right? You know what else? Who else I became a fan of that day? Pat Nolan. You know why? Pat Nolan is a legendary trainer, one of the best in the world, right? There's only two people in all of dog training you'll never hear people say anything bad about. Pat Nolan and Michael Ellis. Two nicest guys in the world. I've never heard anyone say bad about either one. But here is someone who's already at the top of the game, zero ego. He had a problem with a lab he had, which probably had more drive than any of the Mals or Dutchies that were there. This dog was intense. Do you think Pat said, I'm a well-known professional, a legend in the game, I shouldn't go get help from someone else in public? No, he showed up, worked with Bart. Bart did his thing, and that was it. That impressed the hell out of me. I was like, this guy is incredible, meaning Pat. I'm like, that is something to mirror after, that kind of zero ego. Let me do what's best for this dog. Change everything for me, right? Change everything for me. Did I fix that dog at that seminar? Did Bart fix it? He said no. He said it couldn't be fixed. I went home and I fixed it. I fixed it because of shit that I paid attention to that he said. Because when he was done working with me and my dog, I didn't go out in the hallway and talk to my friends about where we're going to drink that night. I wouldn't even put my dog away because I didn't want to miss anything. But he said something that triggered something in me that made me think, and I started changing shit for that dog right there. So 6 months later, when Bart comes back to a different place in Virginia and it's break time and I'm out playing with my dog, and I know I've told this story before, he came over and he said, that's not the same dog. I said, yeah, it is. He said, fuck bloody no, it's not. I said, no, it is. He said, what the fuck did you do? And I said, well, it was something you said that gave me an idea. And he said, what did I say? And I told him, and he said, I didn't say that. I said, yeah, you did. But when you have that much knowledge and information, the Barts and the Ivans and the Pats, right? Shut your fucking mouth and listen. Shut your mouth and listen, because you're going to learn something. But you want to watch a YouTube video and watch some fucking long-haired jerk off put an e-collar on a dog and hold it for 10 seconds on 100 and everything's going to get better, right? Or here, just take this dildo and hit him over the head. It solves everything. Are you fucking crazy? Are you crazy? If you're going to do this and charge people money, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to the people, and you definitely owe it to that damn dog to get yourself educated and stop slapping tools on these dogs and trying to change things. Because no quick fix with any tool is ever going to work in teaching the dog what you want. It teaches nothing. It's a Band-Aid. You're not fixing the illness. I can't stress that enough. There's great people out there. Listen, my group class, some of the best people I've ever met. My best thing I ever did was create these 2 group classes. Best thing I ever did. Spread out. We started in January, right? You know when I introduced the e-collar? We started in January. My last class is when I introduced the e-collar. We have people that drive from all over the place, spend their night in a hotel so they could be a group class. Those are people that are desperate to learn because everything else has failed. And I have to apologize to them all the time because I go over the same shit all the time. The basics, the foundation. How do you teach something, guys? How do you teach something? Show me. Show me the timing. Show me that you understand classical conditioning. How do you stop something? Show me that you actually understand the difference between negative reinforcement and punishment, which most trainers don't, not even close. And that's why they can't stop behaviors, right? That's why. So you know what else I introduced to the last class that really helped a lot of people? I introduced the last class, Keeler's Foundation Longline work. It's fantastic. Why don't more people do it, right? I don't use it training in my program, but it's only because I don't have to. So if you see someone that's really learning and doing well, but you need to clean things up and their dogs still don't quite have that intensity and the attention they give them, when you introduce them to that Keeler Foundation long line work, it's incredible stuff. Like, why aren't more people using it? I don't understand. If you can't walk your dog on a leash, forget putting the e-collar on and blasting away, right? The average person, guys, let's say they put a prong collar on their dog to get some help. Nothing wrong with that. But what does everyone do when the dog starts pulling with the prong collar? One of two things. They either start nailing the dog when there's no teaching of turning that pressure off whatsoever, or they're pulling back, because the average dog owner doesn't understand that if we're working a protection dog or a dog in bite sports and we want the dog to pull harder into biting the bad guy, they don't understand that we pull back because the dog is going to automatically pull the other way. That opposition reflex. The average person doesn't understand that, and trainers aren't teaching these people that, right? So what happens now if you show the people, hey, when he even gets close to going too far ahead, give him a quick little pop across the front of your belly, this way, off to the side, not back, and see if it makes a difference. And the second they do that, they're like, oh my God, he stopped. Yes, because what you just told the dog made sense, right? Or if he goes off that way and you take off the other way, who's correcting the dog? You? No, the dog's creating the correction. And after a couple of times, then they start going, holy shit, all of a sudden I have to pay attention where mom and dad is. That's simple, right? I talked to you guys about the male shepherd mix I just started, and I only took it on because I wanted the challenge. Yesterday, we went to the dog park. Dog was unbelievable. Did he fail at all? Yep. And I set him up to fail, and I was hoping he would. And it was fantastic. You know what was fantastic about it? The way he recovered. Beautiful to see. Beautiful. We had such a great time. You know how long that private lesson was? 3 hours. It's supposed to be an hour. It's 3 hours. Why was it 3 hours? Why? Because when the owner first gets there, first we sit down and we talk. We talk because I want to explain a little deeper into things with her, but a little bit at a time. So she thinks we're just talking. But we're not just talking. I asked her to sit on her leash and just leave the dog alone. We're at a dog park. This is a dog that when he sees dog goes crazy, right? So we're not just talking. The dog is put in a position that he has no choice but to deal with. And we're not addressing the dog at all. At all. I don't care if he sits down, stands, does a friggin' handstand, plays with his balls. I don't care. Just leave him alone. Let's talk. The beautiful thing about that is when a lot of these people can stop focusing on the dog and the issue because they wait for the bad behavior that they struggle with, when you can engage them, it doesn't even have to be about the dog or dog training. They relax. They forget about the dog. They forget about the problems. And when they relax, the dog relaxes. So after 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of talking, now we go out and we work the dog for about 30 minutes on a long line out in the park. And by the time we were done, we were going to the fence and walking up and down the fence, and dogs are coming there and we're letting him go to the fence and we're calling him away from the fence. And he's doing absolutely fantastic. Like he just killed this lesson, and I'm happy and the owner's happy. That emotional connection that the three of us make right there because it was such a good day is priceless. Priceless. I'm dripping wet. It's hot. So now we ended at an hour and we're going to put the dog away. And then we stand there and we talk for 2 hours. 2 hours because there were questions. There were things I wanted to clear up. And then we got into other things, right? 2 hours. Do you think that I'm going to say, man, I lost money on this lesson because this should be an hour. Now I just did these 2 lessons for free? No, That's an investment. That's an investment. A dog training is like mutual funds. It's like a good stock index fund, right? You have to start early and invest in it. And that compound interest will grow and grow and grow. But if you don't start early, you can never make up the time, no matter how much you put in. You can't. And that solid foundation and making that emotional connection and the people truly knowing, listen, there's nothing worse when someone's struggling and they call me and, is my dog old enough for the e-collar? I can't stop this. I can't stop that. A fucking e-collar is not going to help you. It's not going to help you. Matter of fact, it's going to kill you. Training tools should enhance the training, not replace the training, right? And training tools, the e-collar especially, can most certainly bring the best out in your training if you're a good trainer. If you're not, it'll exploit your weaknesses and destroy the fucking dog every time. Every damn time. I can't stress that enough, guys. Stop running to the e-collar. Or if you're going to use it, make sure you train the dog first and you get educated on how to do so, right? How to do so. It's easy. Your dog has to understand what yes means, but he also has to understand what no means. And that dog has to be crazy about you. Dante's a young dog. He's nowhere near at the level like Luca or Bruno or Mango was at this age. Not even close. He matures slow, so I've gone slow with him. But I just got back from a 14-hour drive to Dallas. I stop with him a lot and let him out and we play and we run. Sometimes it's just at a busy gas station, a truck stop. Sometimes it's at a rest stop. It doesn't matter. That dog don't have an e-collar on. I don't have to worry about him going anywhere. Should I have one on just in case? Yeah, I preach that all the time. But I know I don't have to worry about him. It doesn't matter. There could be a cat that runs by with a raw steak strapped to its back, giving him the middle finger, and he doesn't care. You know why? Because his life is absolutely clear and phenomenal with me. I'm more important than that. He has no interest in that. Well, how do I get there? I get there by training here at my house with no distractions. And then eventually we're outside when there's rabbits there and there's people running by and there's garbage men picking up garbage and there's landscapers here. You guys see it. I do that shit on purpose, right? If I see people working on my neighbor's house or there's people working on my house, we're going out and we're training. We're training, right? I had people here to work on my heater for my pool when he was young, like last season. There were two black guys, an older guy and a younger guy. I ran and I got the dog and I went out there and I wanted him to meet these guys. And I told him, I said, yeah, I need you guys to hang out with this dog, just play with him, love on him and everything, and they said, oh, you're training him for something? I said, yeah, he has to be okay with black people. I have to expose him to all kinds of people, different races, different cultures, different everything. When I told my wife that, she was appalled. She said, you said that to them? I said, yeah, why not? That's honesty. I have nothing to hide, right? I want my dog to be comfortable when he sees black people walking down the street because I've introduced him to all kinds already. But we live in a society today where you can't even say that. Like my wife was like, don't you think you're going to offend someone? If someone's going to be offended because I want my dog to think you're pretty awesome, that's fucking crazy, right? So I put everything into this, everything. If I want my dog to know that I'm crazy about it and I'm happy what he just did, I'm going to give him a look and he's going to look at my eyes and he's going to know through my eyes, it's a tool, that I'm very pleased. And he is going to understand that and it's going to make him happy. On the flip side, if he does something and I'm not happy, works the same. Don't have to say anything. But I'm working with people and seeing people and observing trainers train clients, and they're talking nonstop because they're trying to make a good video. And what they don't understand is the more they talk, the less the people understand. You're not getting through to anyone. You're only trying to build your social media presence because the average person can't retain any of this shit, right? So people ask me all the time, you have the best clients. How do you do it? Well, very simple. I do weed out the bad ones, and I take my time and I keep things so short and simple. I give them very little to do because I want them to perfect something, right? But people throw so much shit out there, and their expectations are they want them to remember all this stuff, and then the people get overwhelmed. And then you know what they say? My people just won't do their homework. They won't work when they get home. No, that's bullshit. I've told you about the experiment with the e-collar at the conference. That's bullshit. They will do it if they're not overwhelmed and they understand it. If people aren't doing their work that they need to at home, you're failing. They're not failing. Did you show them what to do? Did you teach them how to do it? Did you motivate them? Same thing with the dog. Hey, Tim, you got to do it, guys. We are beyond blessed to get paid to do this. I did this shit for free for a long time. Why? Because I wasn't great at it and I had to get better. So I can't take your dog and try to get great at it and charge you for it. So I took the opportunity to work with every dog that people wanted me to work with, and I didn't charge them. That was what I needed to do, right? You're funny, Nick. You know, that's what I needed to do. We have to do better. We just have to. There's too much bullshit out there. And when you look at these other countries, guys, they're taking away everything. Everything. I mean, they're trying to take away bite sports. You can't say boo to the dog. You can't do anything. Why? Why is that? It's because in the United States, if you get these lunatic radicals that want to ban the e-collar, they're not showing my videos, right? They're not showing my videos. They're not showing a lot of people's videos. They're going to go show the worst of the worst. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. There's times where I wish they would ban it because I'm so tired of seeing dogs walking around like they were just shot in the stomach. Kendall, it's constantly. And it's not that they're skipping the foundation, Kendall. It's that they don't know how to teach it because they don't know how to do it on their own dogs. You got people that are huge in this industry because of social media that have never trained a dog to an impressive level. Never. They're phenomenal marketers, phenomenal business people, and barely above a pet smart dog trainer. And that's the truth. But yet they have followings and people will give them the world. It's disgusting. You know, it's disgusting. I've put my foot in my mouth so many times, things I've said. And sometimes I regret saying things if I don't make myself clear. But I will never, ever worry about offending someone who's doing wrong by the animal. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. And people know when they send their dog here, if that dog has a good day, they're going to know. If that dog has a bad day, they're going to know. But I never have to do anything behind closed doors that I don't do in front of everyone. Never. Right? Let's go back to Ranger, the Corso that I had last year. This was great. So he struggled real bad, right? He was a tough dog. He had a lot of issues. So by the time I could take him out safely and where he didn't worry about biting me or anything, and I took the bite suit off after day 3 or 4, I knew he was fine. When I tried to start getting that dog to play, he had no interest, right? Had no interest. But I had to get him there. And then once he started coming around, the know-it-alls started commenting on the videos. Let me explain to you why play is the wrong route to take with this dog. Let me explain to you why this dog should not be allowed to bite on anything, right? All these experts, some of my common haters wanted to chime in because they know better, right? They know better. Well, I don't argue that. I just have to say, well, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Where are they now, right? When Ranger's mama sent a text and she's telling me she's in tears right now, and he's outside in an open field next to a highway playing with a stranger. Previous people ask, how will this translate to the real world? But no one ever says, how does the e-collar translate to the real world? How does punishment translate to the real world? How does being an asshole translate to the real world? But they see a dog loving you and playing with you, and they want to know, how does that fucking transfer to the real world? Think about that. That's how far gone we are, right? So there was one moment in particular, someone just brought up at my last seminar. I tried to get Ranger to go on top of that plastic crate top, and he's like, hell no. Nope, that thing's evil, right? Did I take the leash and force him up there? No. Could I have? Yeah. Could I have? Yes. And would he have realized after a while it's not the worst thing in the world? Yeah, absolutely. But I knew there was a way to make it more powerful. And so I went back just to continue to build that relationship with that dog. And every day that dog gave me something to wake up for. And I loved him to death, right? Today I thought was the day we were far enough along. So I set up the camera, I set up the tripod, and I wanted everyone to see real time. I wanted to film it. So we go out. He knows I have a tug on me, and we're going out. And so now he already knows the routine. And so he's ready. He's fired up. He's fired up. And I'm just standing there. I don't think I want to play today. And he's really confused. He's trying to get me to play. Like, come on, dude. And I'm like, no, I'm just turning my back and walking around. And he's puzzled. And he stops and he's thinking. You could see him thinking. Then he did what I prayed he would do. And I knew he'd eventually do. He turned around, he ran, and he flew on top of that crate top. And I celebrated with him like a fucking lunatic, like he just won the Olympic gold medal for the United States. And he hit that tug, and we wrestled, and he bruised me up, and I slapped the shit out of him, and we had a great time. My neighbors think I'm nuts, right? Why did I do that? Why? Because that dog just told me, I was scared of that thing yesterday, the day before, but I trust you. I trust you. And me and you playing this game right now that you got me into is more important than worrying about that stupid thing. That's what the dog's telling me, right? That's what he's telling me. Very important. If I would have pulled him up there and made him go up there, might have been fine. Probably would have been fine. But having him do it on his own to activate me is so much more powerful. So much more powerful. But people want to show you how amazing they are. Turning the e-collar on and waiting for him to figure it out or drag him on there to turn the e-collar off, you're not doing shit. You're not doing shit. And that's what these people are doing that literally don't know how to teach a behavior without it. They don't know. They don't know. If you need an e-collar on a dog to get him into a car, turn in your leash. Turn in your leash. You shouldn't be training dogs. Turn in your leash. You shouldn't be training dogs. I guess my whole point in this rant is I can go on with these stories for hours. And they're not stories that hundreds of people haven't seen in person. And I'm not the best dog trainer out there, right? But I've been obsessed with getting better every day for a very, very long time. For a very long time. And I will continue to do that. And I don't understand how someone else can worry about their Instagram and their TikTok and their Facebook and put their time there and not put their time into learning how to train a dog. I don't get it. That bothers the shit out of me. It just does. It bothers the shit out of me. You guys have any questions? Ask away. If I could answer them, I will. I'm sweaty. Like, I'm so worked up over this. I'm actually sweaty. But I feel very romantic because I'm drinking very good red wine. Funny story about this wine. This is one of my favorite wines right here, right? I was in Paris years ago, and I was introduced to this wine, and I loved it. I was like, holy shit, and a white wine too. And I don't drink a lot of white wine. And so before I left Paris, I bought all I could bring back home legally. I brought all this wine back, this brand legally. And I got home and I thought I was a badass. I bring all this wine back from Paris, right? Spent a fortune on it. And then literally the next time I went to the liquor store, there it is sitting on the shelf. It's like I'm a dumbass. I'm such a dumbass, you know? But if all right, Greg, that's a good question because it's simple, right? So let's talk about that, Greg. This Greg here too is like he's just like the best person you'll ever meet in your life. I really like this dude. He's got a beautiful dog, but his dog's a lunatic, right? Just a lot of energy. If a dog jumps on you, how do you correct? This is a concept that's tough for me, Greg, because I can't put it into the words the way that I actually do it because dogs don't jump on me, right? They just don't. Because you have to have that respect from the animal to where they understand that's not even an option. And that doesn't come through force or anything, right? So that's where you want to be, where that's not even an issue. If you see the dog going to jump on you and you step into him using spatial pressure, kind of in a disappointing way, dogs understand that. But let's put it in simplest terms for you, because I don't want to try to make it difficult for you. What do we talk about all the time? You heard me say this a lot, Greg. The dog has to understand your language. The communication has to be there, right? It has to be there. Your dog don't know what your words mean. They're just noises. The only thing they understand is what follows those words. So you guys have all seen me ask trainer after trainer after trainer, what's your reward marker? And most people will say yes. And I'll say, no, it's not. And they'll say, well, what do you mean? I said, you just said it like 3 times and nothing was ever presented to the dog. You never gave the dog anything. And I'll say yes. They say yes, and the dog don't move. I said, the dog just told you that's not a reward marker because you're not consistent with it, right? That's just a sound that the dog hears. They don't know what yes means, the dictionary version. They know what follows yes. So when you see Dante at 12 weeks old running towards the end of my driveway and I said yes, and he hit the brakes and came flying, it was automatic. He couldn't help that because for the first 2 weeks of his life that I had him, it was yes, feed, yes, feed, yes, feed, yes, feed, till it becomes automatic. And it's even worse when it comes to no. People don't teach no. Most dogs think their middle name is fucking no. It's no, because people say it nonstop and nothing ever follows. So let's put it in simple terms, Greg. Let's say you put a leash on your dog, you have a prong collar on the dog or a flat collar. It doesn't matter. I just don't like slip leads for stuff like this. When your dog, as soon as he starts coming up on you or those feet hit you, you have to say no very firmly, and then something aversive has to follow. A very crisp leash pop, and then you move into the dog and you knock that shit off and you send him away. That the dog understands. But if you just keep telling him, no, stop that, don't do that, Levi, no, I don't like this, oh my gosh. And if you take a step back, now the dog is using spatial pressure and he's taking your space. You have to understand how the dog sees things, right? Minute you step back, the dog's, I got you. Now you're mine. Now you're my property, right? But he goes to step into you. You step into him, no, and then a firm pop, go. He's never going to do it again. But that is a sequence and the communication that the dog understands. But to be honest with you, I just normally, if you start to understand those little things, Greg, you won't even have to get to that point. And what people fail to understand, guys, is the goal is that you don't want to have to keep using some kind of an aversive. You want to get to the point where you say, knock that shit off, and the dog just gets it, right? They understand it. But they can't get there. They can't get there if you're not clear and consistent on what you're telling the dog that you expect. And so you saw this, Greg. You saw this past weekend. There's so many people there that they think they're telling the dog one thing, but they're really not. They're really not, right? They're just not there. And so you have to be very, very clear with that stuff. Now, with that being said, guys, tools are a wonderful thing. E-collars outside of the leash is the greatest tool we've ever developed in dog training, in my opinion. Why? Why is it? Why? It is extremely powerful when you can give your dog information from 100 yards away. And it's the only damn dog, the only tool on the planet that can provide that. It could provide yes, it could provide no. The thing that upsets me so much, I've done everything I could for a long time to show my dogs with no tools. And for so long, I kept hearing I'm that e-collar guy in a good way. They didn't mean anything bad by it. It was in a positive way. I have my dogs and my clients, e-collars are used for one purpose, guys, that they can take their dog off leash wherever they're at and they can provide that off leash freedom to them. They have that e-collar there for that what if moment. What if I have to use it? So the way I teach it, like others do too, it's a very simple process to get to that point where it's there if you need it. That's it. I'm not using e-collars before the command for the life of the dog and for obedience. It's there if I need it. But I could do anything with that damn tool. Why? Not because of the e-collar, because of the training I've already done. That's the difference, right? So the dogs don't do great because of what I do with the e-collar. They do great with the e-collar because of what I do with the dogs first. Someone just showed me something about a Nashville dog trainer putting an e-collar on 12-week-old puppies and lighting them up. And this guy trains a lot of high-profile people, 12 weeks old, lighting them up for non-compliance. A 12-week-old puppy, guys, if you had a 4-year-old toddler and you were going to Florida on vacation, expecting a puppy to be loose in the house and not do bad shit would be the equivalent of leaving your 3 or 4-year-old toddler alone for the weekend at home and thinking everything's going to go well. That's what you're doing, right? So you have two options. You can take a puppy and manage the shit out of them when they're young. And the biggest problem we see with puppies is too much freedom too early. And if you give your puppy too much freedom too early, you're not developing the dog you want. You're going to spend all your time fixing the dog you don't want. Believe me when I tell you. So if you bust your ass a little bit in the beginning and use a lot of management, then your dog becomes self-sufficient and you never have to worry. But if you give too much freedom, then you're going to spend the rest of the dog's life managing it. That's the difference. When I get a dog, it's a 2-year process. I consider my dogs pretty damn self-sufficient when they're 2 years old. I bust my ass teaching them what's expected. So I have high drive dogs, 2 Malinois, a German Shepherd, the Doodle. Even the Doodle's high drive, right? Dante's the only one that cannot be left loose in the house when we're gone because he's not 2 years old yet. So rule of thumb for me, my dogs sleep in their crate till they're 1 year old, no matter how well trained they are. They're not left loose in the house when we're not home till they're at least 2 years old. That's the first thing the first trainer I ever worked with taught me, and it's been golden for all these years, 27 years later. And a lot of people subscribe to that now, right? So I'm always going to develop the dog I want instead of fixing behaviors I don't. Your puppy doesn't understand what you want. Most dogs don't understand what you want, right? They don't get your language. Okay. Any other questions there? Sarah, let's see what Sarah's got here. I had a consult with the trainer in my area, and the consult recommended an e-collar when she was 3 months old. Every day, Sarah. It happens every day. Every single day. That trainer right there was just giving you a big billboard. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. That's what they told you. So it's great that he did that. You know, let's see what Robert says. My dog has some inside issues, not calm, and still goes after the carpet to chew it when he has a lot of energy, 1 year old, but have not used or introduced the e-collar yet. What correction will work if I use my voice and walk him? Well, here's the thing, Robert. And I could just tell you what I do. You have to ask yourself, why can't you tell your dog, knock that shit off, and he just stops, right? It's that simple. So if you came to me, Robert, and gave me that dog with that problem, I'm not bringing him inside, putting him on the carpet, waiting until he does it, and then trying to fix that. It's not happening. As a matter of fact, he's not going to see a carpet, right? What I'm going to do, and it's not sexy. I may be sexy saying it, but it's not sexy. I'm going to go back to the basics. That dog's going to think I'm awesome. I'm going to teach the dog how to learn, and then I'm going to lay my foundation. And the dog's going to understand my language. He's going to understand yes. He's going to understand no. He's going to understand knock that shit off. And then by the time you get to the issue, when he starts that shit, knock it off. It's done. It's that simple. But people are trying to tell the dog what not to do when they're already committing the crime. You already developed the gangster. He needs that education before he gets to that point, right? And so if I was doing like the video consultations with you, right, Robert, I would say, send me some videos. I want to see a video of you doing basic obedience with your dog. Just, a leash, flat collar, prong collar. I don't care. Use food, don't use food. I don't care. I want to see a video of you playing with the dog. If he plays tug, if he plays ball, whatever. And I want to see a video of the problem. But I can tell you right now, as soon as you show me the video of you doing obedience and playing with the dog, I'm going to tell you how to make that better. I could almost guarantee you that, because in the obedience and in the play, your communication system most likely isn't very clear, and you're not setting solid rules and boundaries within the obedience and the play. So if you set solid rules and boundaries and language that you're consistent with when you're doing that other stuff, then when it comes to addressing the problem, it's not an issue. It's not an issue. It's cake. It's very, very easy, right? But if no means nothing to your dog, it's not going to do anything, not going to do anything. Let's see. I'm talking a lot. I haven't shut up. What does Noel say here? My 2-year-old German Shepherd gets overly excited, won't heel in new places. He does know the command. We went on a road trip today and made many stops. Any suggestions? I ended up taking him to a field and playing tug. He calmed down. Yeah, if he knows heel, like you say he does, and he can't do it in new places, then you got to go back and rebuild it, Noel. He's not ready for new places then, right? It's just like if someone takes their dog for a walk, and I explained this to Levi. If you can't take your dog for a walk without him pulling you down the street and blowing up at dogs, don't go for a walk. They're not ready. And all you're doing is rewarding the behavior you don't want. So go back and you work on the walking. And back to walking, think about this. If you can't yourself teach your dog how to walk nicely with you in all circumstances, it's going to be very difficult to stop the more difficult behaviors, guys, because it doesn't get any easier than that, right? The most basic of behaviors that I ask people to show me, the most basic, I say, show me what do you think the most simple, basic, fundamental behavior is? You know what everyone says? Sit. That's simple, but no, it's not. No, it's not. You don't even have to teach your dog how to sit and you'd be fine. But your dog has to know how to be still when it's with you on leash in all circumstances. It has to come to you when it's called, has to know how to be still when you need it to be still. I don't care if it's sitting, downing, standing, but you'd be amazed on how many people can't get their dog to be still, right? So if you're standing there with your dog and you're out in public, someplace busy, see it every time. And the dog's like this. Going to the end of the leash here, going to the end of the leash there, going around, trying to get you to go this way. What are you telling the dog? You're telling the dog, be a basket case. I have no relevance here. Just do your own thing. When in reality, you need to tell the dog, you come right here without words. The leash is your translator. It tells the dog what you want. And it's your GPS. It shows the dog where you want it. All you have to do is shut your mouth and show the dog where you want it to be. And if he moves out of place 10 times, you fix him 11 times. And eventually, when you do it right without talking, you're going to get one of two things. Either eventually the dog's going to sit and look at you, that's good, or it's going to just lay down because it knows it doesn't have a choice. That's very powerful and very beneficial, but people overlook that stuff. Very rarely do I get someone to work with that hasn't been to at least one or two other trainers. And I'll say, show me what your trainer showed you. Show me what they taught you. You think anyone ever taught someone how to keep their dog still? I've never met that person yet. That's a shame. That's a shame, right? That's a shame. And a lot of these dogs can't walk on a leash. That's a shame. Get your money back. And I'll ask people, did you ask for your money back? No. Why? If you took your car to a mechanic and they didn't fix the problem, you'd fight for your money back. But yet when you bring your dog to a dog trainer and the problem's still there, you don't ask for your money back. Why? I would demand it back. I would demand it back. 100%. They didn't provide what they're supposed to provide, right? That's simple. Not all things can be fixed easily, to be fair. Things take time. But I don't do 1 week board and trains. I don't do 2 week board and trains. I don't do 3 week board and trains. I just don't. I say 3 to 4 weeks, but I don't even keep a dog for 4 weeks because I want time, guys. Time is so powerful and so important. And let me tell you something. The difference between 2 weeks and 3 weeks is light years. Time is a valuable tool. It's just another tool. The e-collar, the prong collar, the flat collar, the leash, time. Time is a tool, and people aren't utilizing it. You folks that do 2 week board and trains as your longest board and train, you do another week. I guarantee you the difference you see between week 3 and week 2 is light years. Light years. You guys dread those go home lessons, right? You dread those go home lessons? Do 1 or 2 private lessons before the board and train. Then watch how much better those go home lessons turn out. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. There's so many things that you could do to make this better for you, for the owner, for the dog. But if we just keep trying to put the dogs on the conveyor belt and spit them out, you're missing the beauty of the whole thing. And this is the most beautiful craft there is as far as I'm concerned. You know how many wills that I'm in for their people's dog? Do you know what kind of honor that is? People are always scared to ask me, and they apologize. I'm so sorry to even put you on the spot, but we're not young. This dog is young. If something happened, can we put you down as the person the dog goes to? I've never said no. Never. And I've never gotten upset. To me, that's the ultimate honor. The ultimate honor that someone thinks that highly of me and trusts me with their animal that much. When someone trusts you with something as important as that animal and they send that dog to you, I don't care if it's 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you better treat it as the ultimate honor. Otherwise, you're a piece of shit. If you do things behind closed doors you wouldn't do on video, you're a piece of shit. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. That's just the way I see things. But that's why every day, at least 2 or 3 people unfriend me on Facebook. Every single day. After this one, man, I'll have all kinds of room to take new friends. I promise you. All right. Let's see any other questions here. If not, I'm going to let you fuckers go. You know what my wife said? I shouldn't say this. I'm going to tell you people what my wife said to me the other day. I get back from my trip to Dallas, right? I come back. I'm getting to spend some special alone time with my beautiful lady. And I say to her, I said, geez, you feel amazing, and she really did. I was being honest. You know what she said to me? She said, you feel heavy. And then she's pissing her pants laughing. I was like, seriously? Seriously? And then Friday, she's leaving for work. And I go out and I give her one last kiss goodbye through the window. And she takes my face very nicely. She gives me a kiss. She said, why don't you go see a barber today? And then pulls away laughing. Like, we're together too long. See what happens? You feel heavy. Think about that. You think it ruined the mood for me? No. Not at all. Not at all. All right. Any other questions? I don't want to keep you guys. This shit's getting long, and I know it gets old to watch, right? No, yeah, I have been eating a lot, Noel. I listen, this time of year, when we're going from summer to fall, I eat nonstop. I just wake up. I made this dish yesterday that my mom makes when she's here. It's this, I'm not a big chicken eater, but it's this chicken and rice and tomatoes. And it's very simple, but it is so good. I was laying in bed at 5:30 this morning thinking about it. I had to get up and eat. I ate big, but I worked out hard today. I worked out very, very hard. I killed myself today because I have to up the workouts because I know I'm going to be eating. I know, and it's a simple recipe, but oh my God, it is so good. Uh, let's see. Jennifer, you're one of my favorite people. I'm going to tie Dragon to your porch and drive away. 99% of the time, not reacting on leash, but that 1%, it's tough. Jennifer, you've done like you're killing it. You've done so good with him. Like when I saw you and Patricia together, that melted my heart because you're two bad bitches. I don't know if you can say that anymore, but fuck it if you can't. You're two of my favorite people. When you think about what Patricia was like bringing that dog into Utah last year, that is a bad woman right there. Like she is a rock star, an absolute rock star. She really is. Let me see. Thanks, Tracy. You're the most common sense trainer. Not always, but listen, I have plenty of faults, guys. Plenty of flaws, plenty of faults. I make mistakes with this shit every day, but I learn from them too. When we do a seminar, especially when I'm with Jay and Joel, there's not a night I go back to my room that I'm not thinking, you know what, I could have done this better. And there's always at least one or two people that I work with that day that I wish I would have done something different or said something different. But the beautiful thing, that keeps you going with this thing is it's never the same. And you never know everything and you never get to the end. There's always more to do. Christian, yes, I am doing video consultations. I've gotten more professional, Christian. My daughter has an email now. She takes all my video consultation messages. It's Sophia. Sophia, what's the consultation email? I know I literally posted it, but someone's asking and I don't know what the post is. Come on. I think it's like sophia.packmasters@gmail.com. So I just posted it the other day. She said, no, that's not it. It's something like that. But I am. Ooh. JJ. Hey, great question, JJ. Let's talk about that. Have you ever had a dog that the e-collar wasn't the right tool for? All right, let's go there. That's a great question, JJ. Hey, tell Jalix this is for Jalix. I hope he's feeling better.
Packmasters.sophia@gmail.
What? Oh, it's packmasters.sophia@gmail.com. You want to say hi to the public? I told them what you said to me. I feel heavy. I told them. I told the public. Okay. Great question, Jada. Have you ever had a dog that the e-collar wasn't the right tool for? I'm going to start off with the phrase that I hate most in dog training. One of the phrases I hate most. I hate when I hear someone say, this dog is a good candidate for the e-collar. That tells me right away, you do not use it the way I do. Instantly, that tells me that, right? Almost all dogs are a good candidate for an e-collar. Now, every now and then, there was a time, guys, just a few years back where like 70% of the dogs I worked with already had really bad e-collar training. Really bad, right? They all came around very quickly. There was one dog that was toughest, and I showed all the videos of it. When you get a dog that has an underground fence, you know instantly if the people didn't tell you that have an underground fence, because the second you start looking for those low levels that the dog feels, the dog always has the same response. They just freeze, right? No matter how low it is, they freeze because they associate it to the underground fence and they're scared that if they move, they're going to be blasted, right? Well, 99% of the time, that's super easy to fix. But there was one Rottweiler in particular, and I showed all the videos because it looked bad. I don't hide it. It looked bad, so I wanted people to see, but I wanted them to know why. And some douchebag, one of the haters, made videos and did shit in slow motion, right? But she didn't tell the full story. So this dog had blown through the underground fence many times. Not a big deal, usually. But the problem was then she would try to get back in and get her ass kicked over and over and over from the underground fence, right? So, of course, as soon as the e-collar went on, the dog shut down, lost all drive, wouldn't chase a ball, wouldn't bite a sleeve, nothing. So now it's my job to fix that because the use of the tool is important for the people. And so I start doing my thing no different than others, except this dog, the second she felt anything, she tried to get back in my house. She was scared to death. Tried to get back in my house. So it was tough, and I almost gave up, but I said, no, we're going to stick it out because I believe in doing this way, right? And so even that dog came around and was fine, not just fine, but would also chase a ball and bite a sleeve, right? And so I consider that a failure if the dog won't play ball and won't bite. If the dog is still too stressed out to bring back full drive, I consider that a failure. So that was the most difficult dog. There's been a couple of dogs throughout the years that were through some real bad shit and never really recovered. You know, that the second the e-collar goes on, they're different. And I don't think those dogs should ever have an e-collar on, you know. And I've shown at least one of them, maybe two of them, that where I think you just don't, because the second you put the e-collar on the dog, they had such a bad experience. It's just not good. One of them in particular, you guys, I showed the video of the owner, wonderful, wonderful lady, love her to death. She showed up with the dog. She got it from a German Shepherd rescue out of Nashville. When she got this dog, the first thing their trainer did, this is a rescue now, the very first thing their trainer did was put an e-collar on the dog, no training, tell the dog what to do, and when the dog didn't do it, lit it up. Lit it up. They just, no training. That dog should never have an e-collar on. And I've tried everything just because the owner was really wanting to see if we could turn it around. You know, and it's okay with it on, but it loses all excitement in life and drive. And why take the dog's excitement for life away? Just don't use it. That initial experience was just too much. So every now and then, JJ, but not much. Not much, you know, not much. Great question. Hope you're doing well, buddy. It was great seeing you, pal. I wish I would have got to hang with you a little bit. I never got to see your lovely wife, and we work so much at these damn things, you know. Are you going to the IACP conference in September? Man, you know, Jen, I really would like to because I love the social aspect of it. I don't get to hang out with dog people much, like we're not working. I'd love to. I don't know if I can make it. You know. I'm going to try, but I have so much going on in September. Stephanie's traveling in September. We both have a lot going on. Are you going, Jen? I'll talk to you this week. Kimberly Brown, what's Kimberly say? Thank you for all your awesome info you provide. You are a huge inspiration to me. Thank you, Kimberly. Met you in St. Louis seminar. I retired this week after 25 years in law enforcement. Oh, man, that's awesome, Kimberly. To train dogs full time. Still learning every day. Thank you for sharing your Kimberly, hats off to you. That's fantastic. So happy for you. And thank you for the kind words. That means everything. I wish you nothing but good luck and enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Take a break when you need a break. Here's the thing, guys. Back to that. You got to take breaks in this thing, right? And if you're someone that doubts yourself and goes through some hard times, we all do. Every single one of us. I think if you don't, you're probably an egomaniac and not as good as you think you are, right? So there's times, and for me, it hits me at night sometimes when I'm laying in bed. And we talk about this at seminars all the time because people are scared to talk about it. There's times where I'm laying in bed at night, and that's where the negative thoughts hit. And one of the things is you get really overwhelmed and you worry if you're even any good at this, right? Am I any good at this? Am I just total fraud, or do I just suck at this? We all go through it. And if you ask a lot of people, a lot of trainers, it's really common, but no one talks about it. So make sure you take plenty of breaks and don't get burnt out, you know? Thanks. Thank you, ma'am. I hope I get to meet you soon there, Marissa. Hope I get to meet you soon, but I'm sure I will. Yeah, absolutely, Francis. It's a real thing, you know? Um, it's a real thing for sure, you know? And what helped me a lot was I got to meet a lot of trainers all over the country and hang out, and people that are revered in this industry and have really great reputations and, you know, are like put on a pedestal. There are some of them I spent some time with just because I was in the area. And let's just say I was highly disappointed. And for the first time in my life, after being with one of them for a while, I called my wife. And for the first time in my life, I've never said these words out loud. I called my wife and I said, you know what? I said, I'm a damn good trainer. I'm a very good dog trainer. Because the shit I saw was appalling. It was appalling. I was devastated. I was very disappointed, you know? And this is shit going on in front of me. So what happens when no one's around? You know, it's just, I don't know. Ooh. Oh, hey, Sarah. Yeah, I'm not, listen, I have with one email right now 70,000 unread emails. So I'm sorry. I'm not blowing you up. I don't see them all. I'm glad you went with Lisa's dog. She has some nice dogs. Anyone who knows Halo, we raised Halo as a family and then trained him, brought him to a very special family. I can't say enough about her dogs. From what I saw, I was very, very impressed. And Lisa has a huge heart and donated that puppy for us to raise and train for someone that deserves it. You know. Oh, let's see. All right, let's talk about this, Jen. Let's go deeper into this. My dog responds well to e-collar in low arousal state on low stim. When in high arousal state, no response to low stim and increasing stim, he redirects and elevates. Not sure how best to approach working through this. Dog is check working, lying, very confident. Awesome question. All right, I got a refill for this. This is a good question. Let's do this. To Beaujolais Villages. All right, maybe this will be the last one, but let's dive deep into this. Let's talk about the whole low-level stim thing, okay? For one, Jen, I don't know exactly how you've trained the dog. I don't know his level of training. I don't know how the e-collar has been used, but there's so much confusion about the low-level stuff. And unfortunately, I think after the podcast and the interview with me and Ivan, I think it got worse for a lot of people. And that's what scared me. That's what concerned me, right? So when we talk about low-level stimulation, I can only speak for myself. So just like what I tell people when I start a seminar, first thing I tell everyone is everything I'm going to do and say this weekend, it's just the way I do things. Doesn't mean it's the only way. It may not even be the best way. It's just the way I do things. It's important that people understand that, right? Obviously, I've had very good success with the e-collar stuff. But people tend to pick and choose what they want to believe and listen to. So when we talk about the low-level stuff, in that beginning teaching phase, that conditioning phase, where we're using the e-collar stim at low levels, using negative reinforcement to teach the dog how to remove that stimulation on low levels. It's just a short education for the dog on how to escape the stimulation so later the dog understands how to avoid it, okay? Simple, basic negative reinforcement, escape and avoidance training. That's simple. The low-level stimulation comes on, we help the dog with what we want, and when the dog starts doing what we want, he learns how to turn off the stimulation. That's simple, that basic. And we're doing that at low levels. Now, once we jump into that intermittent phase, right, where we're using the 4 different combinations, we start that with no distractions, just like that conditioning phase. And I'm only spending a day or two in that conditioning phase, very, very fast. I used to encourage people to stay there a lot longer because not everyone's a dog trainer, right? But very quickly, Jen, when we start moving out into the real world to practice and teach the dog how to respond in real life situations, when you let that dog get fired up and you're trying to use low level stim, and then you're increasing the stim, what you're doing to the dog is when you start low and keep increasing, very quickly the dog will adapt to accept the highest level stimulation and not respond to it. Okay, huge mistake. The other thing is, when you start low and start increasing the stim level, like a lot of people do to stop a behavior, you completely blew the opportunity to use timing to your advantage. It's too late. When you want to stop a behavior and correct the dog, you want it to be quick, punctual, and to the point, very quick. But this shit of dialing up, I'm pretty sure there's a chapter in my book called Why I Don't Dial Up. This shit of dialing up to find the level that's accurately used to stop a behavior is useless. It's nonsense. Because that gives that dog an opportunity to adjust to the highest level stimulations without it phasing him, right? So this is where people get confused. So I'm going to give you an example. So maybe this helps. Let's say now you've been using the e-collar for a week. You've put your dog through the conditioning phase. And again, like I said, I don't know how you did the training. So that's important. I need to know that. If I can give you the best answer, I need to know what training protocol did you use to teach this dog the e-collar stuff, right? But now let's say you spent a couple of days in that conditioning phase. Now you're working that intermittent phase. Now you're going out to a park. You have the dog on a 50-foot line and you're just practicing in real world scenarios. And let's say the dog sees dogs in the distance, and because your dog works on a level 10 at home on a mini educator, e-collar technologies, if you go out to the park with your e-collar set on a 10, even a 15, even a 20, you have zero chance, most likely, of success. Okay? Here's why. For one, we start with no distractions for a reason. It's easy on the dog, right? So you truly are getting to utilize the lowest level the dog perceives, just for teaching purposes for a short period of time. But when you go out into the real world, it's extremely important that you know your dog. You understand your dog and you know what he's going to do before he does it. I can't stress that enough. Knowing your dog is vital. Before you put your dog in that situation, you have to know your dog, right? You should have your e-collar set appropriately to where when you call that dog, because now we're going to practice real life situations, right? The dog's on a 50-foot line. It feels semi-free. It knows the leash is there unless you have a super thin line, right? Your dog sees dogs and you're giving it an opportunity to fail. So the dog's toward the end of the line, he sees the dogs, you start going, the dog starts going, and you say, Rex, come. It's your opportunity, if you want to make this successful, especially for in the future to where you don't have to rely on the e-collar. Then the second you say, Rex, come, and he doesn't respond, it is imperative that you follow up with a tap on the e-collar, not holding the continuous button down, a tap on the e-collar on a level that's aversive enough that he wants to escape it and the next time wants to avoid it. Extremely important, right? Extremely important that it's high enough that the dog understands I fucked up. I got to get back there. Right? Very, very important. And then I could almost guarantee with almost all dogs, the second time you do that, you give him even more temptation. You get even closer to the dogs. And as the dog's going, you say, Rex, come. Almost always, that dog's going to turn on a dime and come flying to you before you ever have to utilize that e-collar. If he doesn't after one time, after two times, you'll never have to do it again. But it has to be done appropriately. But the problem is when you start low, now you're just being a pain in the ass nag, right? Now you're going higher and higher and higher. Now you're just frustrating the dog because of this nagging bullshit. Now it's starting to get really nagging. And the dog gets frustrated and he turns and he's going to nail you. So we have so many different things going on there. We have frustration. We have a lack of clarity and a total lack of disrespect for him to think that he is capable of turning around and turning on you. All of those things come into play. And it's an extremely easy thing to fix, a very, very easy thing to fix, right? But again, without knowing how you train the dog and then how you implemented the e-collar for the dog to truly understand it, really, really important. Really, really important, right? Very important. So I would need to know that to give you the best answer, you know? Okay. Here's another question. Laura, do you train small dogs in the same style as you train high drive big dog? Absolutely, Laura. Abso-freaking-lutely. A dog is a dog. A dog is a dog, whether it's in Rottweiler clothing, Malinois clothing, or Yorkie clothing. Go back and watch an old video of me and Bubba, a little Karen Terrier, right? It's on YouTube somewhere. Little dog. When he came to me, he was really, really scared and wouldn't come out of his crate. He pissed every time I tried to take him out, pissed all over the place. What did I do with that dog? That dog left biting a little sleeve. We fired that dog up. We got him confident. We got him to play. We got him to bite shit. We used the e-collar just like we do with all dogs. We did everything with that dog I would do with a Malinois. And he fucking loved it. Fucking loved it. And the video's out. You go watch it. You know, so I don't just try to talk about this shit, guys. I try to show as much of it as I can because the goal always has to be to help as many dog owners as possible. Regular, average, everyday dog owners that you have to understand know nothing, don't know where to turn, and the majority of the places they turn, they're just robbed. It's very important, you know? Okay, let's see. Eric Rogers, what stage do you start doing structured walks with a puppy out in the neighborhood? Here's the thing, Eric. I'm a big believer in the walk, right? Very big believer. That's how I used to train all my dogs, and I did nothing else. Many people, trainers that I respect very much, dismiss it. I get it. I'm going to tell you the way I look at it. Let's compare it to play, high level play, right? And let's be honest, Ivan Balabanov, Michael Ellis, just a couple of people that really, I think, brought play to the forefront and made it important and made people love it and understand how powerful it is. When we play with a dog, like truly play with a dog in a productive way, where it makes sense to the dog and the dog loves it and doesn't run away with the toy, it brings it and slams it back into your chest because they love this game and it makes sense to them. That's us, the human, trying to imitate the animal to make that dog love it, like he's playing with another dog, right? That's us doing things that maybe aren't so natural to us, but we're doing it because we love the animal and we want them to be able to do what they're genetically bred to do. So we give everything we possibly can to this dog to make them love the game, not the toy, love the game between us, right? And you keep trying to get better and better and better at it. Now, on the flip side, walking at a slow pace moving slowly at the human side without sniffing, without peeing, without pooping, that's not natural to a dog. That kind of movement is not natural to a dog. But for me, and I've never heard anyone talk about this before, but for me, it's very important. That's the flip side of play. That's us telling the dog, hey, buddy, during this walk, you have one job. Be at my side. Just be with me. Enjoy this walk with me like I do, even though we're moving slower than you would maybe like to move on your own. Oh, and by the way, you're not allowed to pee, you're not allowed to sniff, and you're not allowed to poop, things that come natural to you, until I get to a place where I think it's okay. But then I'm going to let you be a dog. I'm going to release you, and I'm going to give you a chance to be yourself. I'm going to give you a chance to be yourself and do your thing, okay? And I'm telling you from experience what I've been able to do with dogs with just a walk. That's the dog saying, you know what? This feels weird to me at first, but I respect you enough and I care about you enough that I'm going to enjoy this just like you enjoy the play with me. And I think when you perfect both the play and the walk, you don't need another fucking thing. And I'm telling you that from experience. I'm telling you that from experience. My dogs are really good dogs, right? I'll put them out in any situation up against anyone's and I can hang. I raise very good dogs. And all of that is vital to me. I don't walk with my dogs nearly as much as I used to. I am nowhere near as good as a dog trainer with my own dogs as I used to be because all my time goes into learning and working with other people's dogs, and my dogs pay the price. That's my fault. When I go for a walk now, most of the time I don't even have any of my dogs with me because I just need to go for a walk because my life has been consumed with dogs and I love it, but I need a break at times. And my dogs suffer because I can't have your dog suffer if you're paying me money and trusting me with your animal. So my dogs always take a back seat. So my dogs today are nowhere near as good as my dogs of yesterday, right? Someone asked me a great question the other day. Who's your most obedient dog ever? That's easy. Bruno and Luca. I had to think about it for a second, but really, in reality, it's easy. Bruno and Luca. Let's talk about why that is. Bruno, because I was still consumed with developing the best dogs ever. Bruno was trained with a leash, a flat collar, and a walk. And it was early on in my career where I was obsessed with being great at this stuff, but I had time to commit to my own dogs, right? So he was phenomenal in every way, as close to a perfect dog as you'll ever find. I didn't do obedience. He did nothing fancy, right? He was just a great dog that I could put in any situation with kids and old people. It didn't matter. Animals and people all over the country met him and said, this is just the most wonderful animal ever. And Luca, because he came along at the right time. What do I mean by that? Luca was the first puppy I had that I took everything I had already been good at, raising the dogs, creating the dog I wanted inside the home. That's still where 90% of the work is done. At least 80% of the work is done inside the home. And I'm damn good at that. My family is damn good at that. But it's also the first puppy that I got from scratch after I started following Bart stuff. When I first started going and following Bart seminars and working with Bart, Luca was the first dog that got the benefit from everything I had known up until that point to all the little things I was learning from Bart. And so at 7 months old, I was doing things with Luca where people were like, holy shit, like this isn't natural. This isn't normal. And a big part of that was because I was committed to learning the working dog side of things. And Luca's a beast to this day. To this day, you know, he was 4 months old and he took off to chase a cat. And I just called him, and he stepped on a dime and came flying back to me. He didn't see an e-collar until he was 9 or 10 months old. So none of the training with any of my dogs has anything to do with an e-collar. It's because in their eyes, I'm fucking amazing. I'm absolutely amazing. And I love those animals, and I give them what they need to excel, right? So that walking part, that's a long answer, Eric. It's so important to me, and you could do so. I've done things with dogs where people said, you can't help this dog. And let's talk about the experiment I did a few years back. I talk about it all the time. So over a 6-month period, I took a bunch of very aggressive dogs in, human aggressive, dog aggressive, whatever, right? For 6 months, I took a bunch of board and trains. I didn't charge the people because I did zero training, didn't focus on anything. With every board and train, I did zero training. The only thing I did was take those dogs for a walk my way. 100% of those dogs went home without those issues. 100%. Okay? There's a couple of reasons. The most important reason, I took the junkie out of the crack house. What do I mean by that? I removed the dog from all the bad habits that created those problems. And I took them into the rehab here where I got them clean. There was no crystal meth here. There was no cocaine here. I got the dog clean. And then I took that dog out on a leash and I showed him, hey, buddy, just follow me and you don't have to worry about anything. That's all I did. That walk is powerful. And I know many dismiss it. I never will. But I won't just talk about it. I'll show you. I will show you. And I have many times for a very long time. So great question, Eric. Sarah, your wife is so beautiful and in the best shape. Let me tell you, Sarah, if you were with a man that looked like me with my personality, you'd be in your best shape and look beautiful also. I'm totally kidding. I'm pretty sure there's someone. Hey guys, I think there's someone knocking on our front window. Thank you, Sarah. I'm just kidding. She's pretty awesome. Don't tell her I said that. She's honestly, she's very. I know she looks good, but she's. It's fireworks. Never mind. She's a good woman. I'm only doing this today because of her, by the way. Ooh. Let's see. Ooh. What's Lauren say here? My relationship with Alice is so much better because of the power of play. Thanks to you. We will still have work to do, but we're getting there. See you in Arkansas. I'm awesome. I love to hear that, Lauren. Love to hear that. That's fantastic. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Love hearing that. All right, guys, we're on here a really, really long time. I don't want to keep you guys any. There's still a lot of people on here. I'm shocked. I guess tonight's Saturday. Someone told me. If I don't see any more questions, and I'm sorry if I missed them. There's just so many comments and stuff on here. I don't want to drag this on and bore you guys to death. I think I'm almost done with my bottle of wine. Are you Eric's stall? If you're referring to Bart, you just don't understand the concept. I don't know what that means, Eric. If it's what I'm think you're talking about, no, I'm not. I'm not. No one's a bigger fan of what Bart does than me or has done. If I think I'm talking about people that should not be trying to do that. If that's what you're referring to, of course not. Ooh, and I understand the concept very well, better than most, Eric. I actually am. My man is a chunk. That's great, Sarah. Love it. You rock. That's great. What purpose would that ever serve? I think that's all. I don't see any questions. All right, guys. Listen, I appreciate you spending this time with me. what's this say? Danielle, can you post this to your feeds after you finish up so we can? Yeah, I don't take anything down, Danielle. It all stays here. And then I'll put it on YouTube also. So it's here. I don't understand why people take their lives down. Um, won't remember. Yeah, no, it'll be here, guys. Absolutely. I did a lot of rambling on tonight. All right. Hey guys, I appreciate you all very much. Hey Rick, how you doing, buddy? Sue, go to sleep. Get some sleep. And a pervious commenter. Okay. I'm out of the loop there, Eric. I missed it, I guess. I don't know. Um, hey, guys, I appreciate you all very much. Thank you for the constant support. I'm going to just keep trying to do my best for the everyday dog owner. That's the most important thing to me. And listen, people treat me way better than I deserve in this world. My family do very nice things for us. You're very, very kind to us. And I don't take that lightly. I really don't. Okay. We just have to keep doing better. That's all there is to it. All right, guys. You all have a great weekend, and I'll see you all soon. If there's something you really want to talk about, let me know. Peace.